Hello and welcome to your Week 12 Fantasy Football Rundown. I'm Avi.
And I'm Jet.
And let's get right into it. Let's start with starter bench, borderline game time decisions that could be pivotal. Starting off with Mark Andrews against the Los Angeles Chargers or Will Dissly against the Baltimore Ravens. Okay.
I'm going to take Will Dissly, as Mark Andrews has had his moments. We know he can be an elite tight end, but Dissly overall is just much more consistent. He's had at least 4 catches every game except one since week 6. So Dissly, the consistency is key there for the tight end position. So I'm going to take Will Dissly.
Yeah, I'm going to play Jets role this week, and I'm going to go the other way. Mark Andrews has gotten a lot of red zone targets, and for a recently struggling Ravens offense, I do think that they will be looking to mix it up a little bit, and I do think Mark Andrews could get more targets than he has the last couple weeks. Moving on to Tyrone Tracy Jr. against the Buccaneers or Ramondre Stevenson against Miami.
I'm going to take Ramondre Stevenson against the Dolphins. Very favorable division matchup. You know Ramondre is going to get a ton of workload. I can see this being a very big game for him. I think he'll get in the end zone at least once this game, and you know his touches are always going to be up around 20 plus every game. So I'm taking Ramondre, especially with Tracy struggling.
I'm going to take Tyrone Tracy Jr. this week. He's gotten a lot of touches in the red zone, 20 plus carries, in the last couple of games, and I really like what I've seen from the rookie. So I'm going to go with him this week. Look for a 15-plus point game. Moving on to buy low, sell high. Starting with buy low, Malik Neighbors against the Buccaneers.
Neighbors has had some disappointing weeks with Daniel Jones at the helm. He's projected only 15, I think, this week. I think if you can get him for a decent price, he's absolutely a player to target. I think DeVito will force feed the ball to him, as backups tend to do with top-tier wide receiver ones, which I do think Malik Neighbors is, at least talent-wise. So I think his role will actually increase with Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, the undrafted rookie out of Illinois will probably be looking not to do anything too fancy, and Malik Neighbors is the guy to go to, clearly, based on the few good weeks that Daniel Jones has actually had. Moving on to Tony Pollard against the Texans, not a very favorable matchup, but based on his abysmal production the last 2 weeks and the absence of Tyjae Spears now, once again, I do think that Tony Pollard's production will be a lot better than it has been.
Yeah, I'm not too convinced that he'll have a great week this week with the stifling Houston run defense, but I think for the playoffs, which are coming up soon in most leagues, in some leagues they even start next week. Most, I believe, they start 14 or 15. So I think Pollard will be a great addition for the playoffs. He's a perfect buy low right now. I mean, he's had some low games. Maybe buy him before this game, or I even think you could probably wait till after this week because the Texans' defense is so good. I bet they contain him just for this week, though. He is a good option as an RB2.
Yeah. Moving on to sell high. We have Jackson Smith-Njigba against the Arizona Cardinals. Frankly, he's a good slot receiver, and Geno Smith's chemistry has been good with him, but 11 receptions, he's not going to keep that production up, in my opinion. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He has been a great rookie. He, in my opinion, is an offensive rookie of the year candidate, but I just don't think, especially with DK Metcalf, I think, in my opinion, still being the wide receiver 1, I don't think he will keep up this level of production.
Yeah, JSN's looked great in his sophomore season. He has better stats than DK Metcalf right now. But with Metcalf and Lockett in that wide receiver room, I think Geno Smith will lean back on DK in some big situations, in some big games. They've got a tough schedule coming up down the stretch against a lot of division opponents, and they're going to have to win quite a few games, and I bet they're going to be in a lot of close games to make the playoffs, as the Seahawks are a chronically 500 team. So I believe in these pressure situations, Geno will rely on guys like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, especially DK, who have been in this situation before, who he trusts to make these plays in these situations. So I believe Smith and Jigba is a sell high here, in addition to Josh Downs, who plays the Lions this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, 3 or 4 really good weeks of production for Josh Downs. Even under AR last week, he got a touchdown catch, like 7 receptions for 60 yards or something like that. And while he has been great, I do like him as a receiver. I still don't think he's going to be keeping up this level of production, especially with the shaky weeks he has had previously under Anthony Richardson. And to add on, against the really tough Lions defense that has proven to be a wall to get over this year. And so I do think Josh Downs is a sell high. I do like him, but I don't think he will keep up the level of production that he has.
Yeah, I mean, under AR, Downs' target share is decreased significantly. Flacco looked towards him pretty much every play. He almost stared him down. The Bills took advantage of that and picked Flacco off a few times because of that. But he was getting targeted a lot under Joe Flacco, and it's just not going to be like that under Richardson, who prefers either check downs or deep balls pretty much. There is no intermediate passing when Anthony Richardson is quarterback. So I think his production will decline, and then this week they play such a tough Detroit defense Detroit has blown out some teams this year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens that game. But yeah, I think Josh Downs is a sell, as he's not used as much under Anthony Richardson as he is under a Joe Flacco-led Colts offense.
Yeah, only 5 targets last week, I remember, and on 5 receptions, but yeah. Yeah, moving on to bold predictions, we have interesting takes for the week. I'm going to start off. I think Jalen Waddle will finally have that bounce-back week he's been looking for. I do think against a mediocre Patriots passing defense that he will be able to get through Christian Gonzalez. I think he will be occupying Tyreek Hill, and I think Tua will look towards Jalen Waddle's way more often than he has been.
My bold prediction is very risky. I'm picking Anthony Richardson to score 20 or more points against the Lions. The Lions this year have dismantled some teams, like destroyed them, like beat them by 50.
52 to 6 against the Jags this week, yeah.
And they did it against the Titans. They did it against the Jaguars. The Texans gave them a little more of a struggle. I was just mentioning AFC South teams.
Yeah.
But I think the Anthony Richardson-led Colts will be good enough to put up a very good fight. If Anthony Richardson gets the run and the pass going, it's going to be extremely hard for Detroit to guard both options. The problem here is he's got to get it going against one of the best defenses in the NFL. But I think Anthony Richardson, motivated by the fact that he could lose his starting job at any moment, will have a very good week, almost a legacy game solidified. Wait, maybe this guy is good again against the Lions. I think they could pull out a shocking win here, but I think they'll probably lose by 1 score. I think he keeps them in the game, scores over 20 points, and raises some eyebrows, turns some heads.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think the Colts have some pretty good offensive attacking weapons. Alec Pierce has been a really good deep threat. Michael Pittman has regressed, but I do think when he gets going, he gets going. And so I think the Colts are a really interesting kind of like a wild card team that can make some really good upsets.
If their defense can just contain the Lions, I think they can stay in this game.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
I'm Jet.
And I'm Avi.
Signing off. Enjoy the outro.
Just give me my money.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Tommy DeVito.